Hey guys, welcome to the Board Game Rundown. I'm Dan, and I honestly just really wanted to talk to you about a game called Kreo. This game has a lot in common with other games that I don't like, and yet for some reason I like this one. So I just wanted to talk about it. This game is published by these guys and designed by these guys. And so I just wanted to talk about the basic elements. So you've probably heard of games like The Mind, The Game, a lot of those. This game could have been called The Kreo, I guess, if you think about it. Because basically, this is a cooperative game with limited communication where you're trying to play cards to accomplish a goal in a certain order. As you can see, that sounds pretty familiar. In this one, you're going to have a mixture of nature cards and element cards, which I can show on the top down a bit, but I don't think you're going to need it that much. Basically, we want to play all these cards in a certain order that's on our little player aids right here. On one side, it shows you everything you need to do in what order. On the other side, it tells you what you can turn in these things for and what this special ability works for, which I'm not going to cover. It's a variant of the game that I usually don't play with, and so I'm just not going to cover it. If you want to play with that variant, just go over those. It's pretty self-explanatory. But basically, at the start of the game, all the cards in the game are going to be dealt out to all the players as evenly as possible. And depending on player count, there'll be different amounts of each thing in the game. You'll always have all the nature cards, but the elements, the wilds, as you can see. So in here, there's the 4 elements, and then there's also the wild kind of card. That could be any element. So the player count and difficulty will affect that. And then also you have these aggression cards that you can play with right here. And these are going to be in your hand and force you to play them, and they have negative effects. And if you have them in your hand at the end of the game, you lose, even if you accomplish your goal. So you're going to need to get those out earlier, but you can't play them the first round or the last round. So you have to make sure that you time that right. Basically, at the start, there's going to be this special currency in the game right here. And this is just going to be kind of, I don't want to say drafted, but in player order, everyone's going to just take as much as they want. So the first player could literally take all of it, and no other players get any. That would be a very dumb move because the way that works is you then play these on your turn. I believe it's called like the divination phase. But basically, before everyone plays their cards, you're going to be playing some of these, and they let you do things like show other players a card from your hand. You can't communicate, but you can show them a card, or you can face down slide them a card, and they face down slide you a card, and then you pick them up at the same time. So you don't know what you're giving each other, but it might be that you need a certain card played. So why would you need a certain card played? Well, basically, one player is going to start the game with the planet card, right? This is the last card we have to play to win. We have to build the planet. So that person is starting player. But the first 2 cards that need play in the game are Atmosphere, which I actually do have out, Atmosphere and Comet. Then these need certain things on it. So you can see Atmosphere needs the blue and the pink, which is like wind and water, I think, right? So these needs blue and pink. But if you're first player and you don't have Atmosphere or Comet, you're just going to be playing a card that gets discarded. Because if you play an element card, right, if you play a pink card and it can't go anywhere, it just gets discarded instead. And there's a limited amount of each element in the game. So if we have discarded 3 wind, for example, and we need more than 3 wind to complete the game, like still, then we know we literally can't win. Now, luckily, this game is kind of like a lot of party games where Codenames, I think, does this and stuff, where basically you don't really lose. It's just that depending on how much you do get built, the game will kind of tell you how sustainable your planet would be, right? So if you get planet built, but you don't have any elements on it, you're basically just a floating rock in space, right? It won't sustain life. But if you get like water and wind, but you don't get some of the other stuff, okay, this planet might sustain life, right? So it's kind of just a rating scale on that. But so what I might do if I have Atmosphere in my hand is I might spend some of I'm just going to call this energy. Don't remember what it's called right now. I'm just going to spend that and just kind of slide it to whoever's first player, basically telling them, hey, you need this. So just give me anything. You're going to need this, right? Then after everyone has played their blue energy to show each other cards and stuff, everyone has a card played face down, and in player order, you flip it. I honestly think there are multiple editions of this game. This is actually a pretty old edition. I think it's called Kreus now. It's not even called Kreo anymore, but same basic game. throughout the editions, I actually think there are some that tell you that you can flip the cards one at a time or just flip them all at once. I personally would always say to flip them one at a time, because if you flip it all at once, you can game the game too much. You can see, oh, well, he's playing an orange, so I'll play my wild on the blue so that he can play the orange. I think it makes the game too easy. So we reveal one at a time, and we lay the cards out. Anything that cannot be played gets discarded. And as far as the aggression cards and everything go, you just follow the instructions. So as you're playing, you're literally going to be building. I'll do it over here so you guys can get the top down if you want it. You're literally going to be building a skill tree, right? So you have atmosphere, you have these down here. Then you can see on the player aid that if you have atmosphere, you can then build wind and river, right? It's like a basic little skill tree thing. If you build comet, you can build mountain and rainbow. This also tells you certain things, because let's say that I play rainbow because I thought someone was going to finish comet and they didn't. Rainbow is now a wasted card, except that nature cards can be played as wilds. So it doesn't just get discarded, but you have wasted rainbow. It's out of the game. And by wasting rainbow, you now know that you can't build flower or fish because you need rainbow for them. So now they become wilds, and you now know, okay, well, we need to focus on tree and bird, right? Because if we don't build one of those, we can't get to planet anyway. So there's a lot of stuff like that where in between rounds, you can talk about like, hey, we need to focus this, we need to do this, right? But once you start playing, it's just all about the using your resources to show each other cards and try to understand what each other's trying to do. And obviously, again, you've heard this kind of stuff before. This isn't insanely original. But I just feel like, coming from someone who doesn't like the game, and honestly, I haven't played the Mind, but I've watched it. I just don't like the idea, and I have multiple friends who don't like it, and so I'm just not going to touch it. I really do like this one for some reason. The theme might do some of it right. You are literally gods trying to build a planet together in the pre-universe, right, when everything was just black. I find that interesting. There's also multiple variants to the game that you can up the difficulty with the aggression cards, with the wild cards. There's also, somewhere around here, there's a deck of Titans to give everyone not just asymmetric ability kind of stuff, but also like there's male and female stuff that goes into this, and like males can't play any tier 2 cards and females can't play any tier 3 cards and like stuff like that. And that just ups the difficulty like crazy. Imagine, you have mountain in your hand, but you literally can't play it. You have to give it to someone else who is capable of playing it and stuff. Like, there's a lot more depth that goes into that like that. But yeah, basically you just keep going around until everyone's out of cards, and then you just see how close to the planet did we get. And I just really enjoy this game. I'm not going to go too much more in depth on it. I'm not going to do a how to play. That's not what this is. But you can see there's all these cards here, all these options to play, all split evenly between players. The cards do have these icons on it, remember, that relates to the back of this, like I was talking about. But I just don't play with that mode. I think I've played with it once, and it's fine. Again, another chance to up the difficulty, but not necessary, I think. And I just, honestly, this is a game that I've never heard anyone talk about except for my friend Levi owned it, and I played it with him many years ago, and I've played it a bunch since. He loves it more than me, but I like it, and I want more people to know about it. So I thought I'd take the chance while I have time for a solo video and just tell you guys about Kreo. So yeah, if you think this sounds interesting to you, if you like games like those, I suggest checking it out. I think this is a cool one. I don't know which edition is available right now, but again, they're all basically the same. Sure, the art will be different. But yeah, so anyway, I'm just going to tell you, Board Game Rundown recommends Kreo. I've been Dan, and thanks for watching, guys. Let me know in the comment if you've played it and you like it, or if you're interested in checking it out after hearing about this, because you probably haven't heard of it before. Okay, guys, I'll see you next time.